Hello again, class. Hello again, Professor Markwitt. We're moving on to Milestone 2 now, so let's take a look at what I needed to get done. I needed to create the 5 jokes environment, as you may remember from the last video. The first game was 4 jokes by Eric Wolpaw. The second joke is Chet Falachek presents 5 jokes by Chet Falachek. So I needed to create that level. I needed to build out some doors. They call them knock knock doors or knock knock joke doors. You click on the door and a knock knock joke plays out. You'll see it working in a few. I also needed to collect art. Done that. Lighting and post. You saw in the last video that I've kind of landed on a look for the game and how I'm lighting it. Side note, when you use very large area lights to light things, baking is a nightmare. This environment took 3.5 hours to bake, and there's still problems, and I'm gonna have to bake it again, and I'm whining. So, anyway, we also needed voiceover and audio triggers. This game has more voiceover, so I'm gonna talk about it a little bit before I start, before I show it to you, and then I'll walk through without talking so you can get a good sense. Oh, this is spoilers. Game 2. Okay. So, I am in the process of restructuring this thing, but currently, because I don't have the gallery in that is going to play between, or the player will be in between each of these games, I've just got this set up. So, this game's super simple. Chet Falachek presents 5 jokes by Chet Falachek. There is a door. You click on the door. It says knock knock. You click on the door. It says who's there. So on and so forth. I had to find art that references what each joke is. As kind of like a just kind of funny thing. And so I've got all that in as well. As you can clearly see, I have narrative triggers. This bake is really bad, so I'm going to have to go back and figure out how to fix this, but for now I can show this off to you. I'll do a final polish pass before I finish this game, but let's see. I'm gonna just stand around for audio in the beginning. Again, there will be another scene, a gallery environment that I can't wait to show you, that the player will be walking around and they're going to be looking at Chet Falachek's work. So while I'm talking about the context for the game that I'm about to show, I'm having the player walk around and see what Chet Falachek's worked on. And it gives the player something to do while I am explaining the story. So, right now, we're just going to stand here and listen to it before the game starts.
Eric was the first to finish his game, so he ran to Gabe's office to show off his work. Gabe Newell played it, but was surprisingly disappointed. Games are about interactivity and about player involvement, Gabe said. Narratives in video games must be more conversational. You can't just list off jokes at your player when you're making a video game, but must instead engage the player and make them part of your narrative. Gabe continued shouting at Eric Wolpaw, and people started to notice as Gabe's voice continued to raise. One such onlooker was Chet Falachek. Now, Chet had seen Eric's game and heard Gabe's criticisms, so he ran back to his team, he scrapped the game they were working on, and quickly built a new game based on Gabe's reaction to Eric Wolpaw's 4 jokes. Now, Chet worked all night and had completed his game by morning. It was called Chet Falachek Presents 5 Jokes by Chet Falachek. All right, let's play it.
So, as you're getting by now, this is such a tribute to the walking simulators I like that my voice sometimes channels Davey Reedon when I'm not intending for it to. Anyway, the setup, as you're kind of getting right now, is a game jam, a fictional game jam that took place at Valve. Falachek is one of the great innovators in narrative design. So in Half-Life 2, there were a lot of like back and forths without dialogue, or pieces, little bits of dialogue that relied on player interaction to play out. And so I wanted to find a way to visualize that. And this is Again, based on a GDC talk by William Pugh, who kind of furnished the original idea. God, this is a bad bake. Okay. Knock knock. Who's there? Candace. Candace who? Can this door open or what? Yeah, these jokes are bad.
Yeah, I know. It's a knock-knock joke, but just think about it for a minute. This is exactly what Gabe must have been looking for. This was a conversation, an interaction that could not exist without the player's participation. This is what a game narrative is supposed to be, a conversation between a developer and a player. Chet had really hit on something, and he knew it.
Knock knock. Who's there? Mikey. Mikey who? My key doesn't fit in the keyhole. Keyhole imagery. I was really going for cheese. Baking artifacts. Knock knock. Who's there? Daisy. Daisy who? Oh my God! It's a chameleonaire joke. They see me rolling. They hating. Yeah, so I gotta have Chevy Impala's bucket. Knock knock. Who's there? A door. A door who? A door, silly. Okay, there's more VO. I'm gonna stop having fun with you for a minute.
And the player turns around. Thalachek knew he had finally found.
Sorry, that ending part was a spoiler. So, I've shown you the 5 jokes environment and the knock knock doors. I've shown you all of the art in Chet Thalachek Presents 5 Jokes by Chet Thalachek. I've shown you the lighting and the post-processing, which is still being worked on, but is to the level of quality of the previous environment and the next before I go back and kind of rework everything. And I've shown you some VO. If I weren't standing around and kind of showing things off, the VO is actually timed pretty well, so that if you're just playing the game, it's going to feel pretty natural, and you can't easily run through all of it and break it. So I think it feels really great. That's all I've got for you right now, but I will see you again in Milestone 3. Thank you so much for listening.